Hi guys, it's Tamra, the Judeo-Christian medium. If you're just tuning in from the internet, just to check on any readings about Miss Madeline McCann, let me just introduce myself. So I am a Jewish Christian medium. I started out doing tarot, but realized I've been a medium my whole life. And then I started connecting to Jesus, the Archangels, and the Galactic Federation. So I have my Navy t-shirt on today. I wanted to show you all. And this is an important part of the video because we have Miss Madeline McCann, who is also Archangel Michael, who is a huge part of the Galactic Federation. He works a lot with the tall whites, and it's very layered, and I will talk more about it. But the American Navy is a big part of the Galactic Federation. Archangel Michael protects the Navy. Now, guys, I'm not saying that the Navy is perfect, but it is, like I said, very layered, and I will talk about it more at another time. But Miss Madeline McCann, also known as Archangel Michael, is here with us. And before I keep talking, let me introduce her. Miss Madeline McCann. Yay! Oh my goodness, you guys. So she's coming here to me as Miss Madeline McCann, even though she is Archangel Michael. She's changing all kinds of forms like a cartoon. Let me put my arm down a bit. I just wanted to show you all my t-shirt. I'm just going to rest my camera here. Sorry, I have to hold it like this. I moved, and then I'll be moving again, so that's why I kind of have a little bit of an awkward setup. But anyway, so let me just close my eyes. The energy is very strong in the room right now. She is here. I've been talking to her and Archangel Michael, you know, getting the story, the information on her, who she is, who she was, why she was here, why that happened. You know, I had already connected to Archangel Michael before hearing about this. So it's been about 6 months that I've been off and on, like, researching and talking with her. Ooh, I'm trying to calm down, guys, but it's really hard. Her energy is very strong. Archangel Michael's energy is very strong. Okay. It's making my heart rate, my heart is beating very quickly. Okay, so let me try to calm down. If you guys are watching, I hope I'm not, you know, aggravating you. The energy is very strong. If you're intuitive, maybe you could even feel it as you're tuning in. Okay, so before we move on, let me introduce my spiritual team. So we have God all around us. We have Jesus to my right. It's like a circle. Then we have Mother Mary right behind me on my right shoulder. Father Joseph on my left shoulder. And then in a circle, we have Archangel Michael to my right, who is Madeline McCann. Metatron to my left. Archangel Eric Medhus, his mom has a channel called Channeling Eric, if you'd like to tune into that. Archangel Gabriel sits right in front of me. And then in a semicircle, it's like an orchestra. We have to my right Archangel Sandalphon, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Azrael, Archangel Jophiel, who is, sorry, they're talking. Archangel Jophiel, who is John Benet Ramsey. You can tune into that video. Archangel Uriel, which is me. Archangel Zadkiel to my left. And they told me tonight that, yeah, they were saying that the archangels, like that sit in the little orchestra section, the ones to the left of me are like more silly, and the ones to the right are more like adult, more tall white. Anyway, so Archangel Zadkiel, Archangel Jeremiah, Archangel Raguel, Archangel Chamuel, Archangel Haniel, and Archangel Daniel. Okay, sorry if I seem so serious. I just really want to, I joke a lot, but I want to just get through with this. They're saying it's okay to joke. Okay, so we have Miss Madeline McCann. I'm so sorry it's taken me so long to make this video, but she's saying, Archangel Michael is saying that, you know, it's okay. It's a lot of information, and yeah, it's very layered, and okay, yeah, it's just taken a long time. Sorry about my camera work. Okay, so where do we start? Miss Madeline McCann, okay? So, like I said, she is Archangel Michael. So guys, it's like Jesus. So when God made humanity, he employed the help of the Arcturians, who are also here with us, the Pleiadians, who are here with us. Sorry guys, I didn't mention you before. And the tall whites, they are here with us. They are protecting this reading. And so God got together with the Pleiadians, the tall whites, the Arcturians, and the reptilians to create humanity. So throughout the ages, God has sent some of the same souls here to assist. And sometimes these souls are archangels, and I'll be explaining that in further videos. And I have explained some in my previous videos, but so Miss Madeline McCann, she is Archangel Michael, just as Jesus was an archangel. So she came here with a purpose, and the big overarching purpose of Well, one of the purposes of the Galactic Federation and the purpose of her, let me hold the camera steady, is to fight, disable, and dismantle human trafficking. So he came as, I don't necessarily want to call it a sacrifice. It's because that's not, people get that word confused, and some people even, it upsets them thinking that God would send his beloved angels and children as that word. So let's not use that word, because it has a negative connotation, like a negative context. So it's more like a mission. It's a mission, a helpful mission that has challenges, but okay, let me move on. That's just the way that it is. I'll explain it further at another time. So while Archangel Michael was here in this particular lifetime, he's had others, but in this particular lifetime as Madeline McCann, he came as a little Taurus, and it was his first time as a female. His birthday, Madeline McCann's birthday, was May 12th, 2003. And when she disappeared, May 3rd, 2007, right before her birthday, in Praia Deluge, that's how she says it, she was almost 4, guys. So her birthday was May 12th, and she disappeared May 3rd. So I know she's oftentimes called a 3-year-old, but she really was 4. She was shy of a few days of 4. And that's why you can see the pictures from that year where like some look really babyish and some look older. And also, it's a hard time for some parents that age. They say the terrible twos, but actually from 3 to 4, it's a tough time for parents, and really for some parents, depending on the child's personality and depending on the parent's personality, and also physically how they grow out of that baby stage. So just, we'll keep that in mind. And I'm just looking at my notes here. Forgive me for not looking at you guys, but I've got notes and I don't want to get distracted. So, she came here, and Archangel Michael came here to break the generational curse of that family, of both of the bloodlines. And I will talk more in more videos to come about bloodlines, about where they come from, about what has happened, and why so many starseeds are here now, and have come throughout the ages to break generational curses. And that was part of her contract. And it was a successful mission, you guys. And I know that might sound crazy considering what happened, but it was a successful mission. So how is that a successful mission? Well, her bloodline of Sean and Emily, so Sean and Emily, the twins, her twin brother and sister who were in the bedroom with her. They are reptilians, but as of now, they should be, and continuing on, be positive reptilians, and their mission was to become earth angels in this lifetime. So let's see what is to come. They may write a book about this. They might join, spiritually join in this mission, but they might not be aware, but they might just help in some way. I don't want to go down too far down a rabbit hole with that, but just know that the generational curse has been broken. So now we'll sort of deconstruct this. So Madeline was colicky as a baby. That means she had a lot of intestinal distress, and what they're telling me, I'm just going to call Archangel Michael and Madeline together, them, with my spiritual team. So what they're saying was that she had celiac disease, amongst other things. Now, there are certain bloodlines that trace back to the disciples, and one strong one went through Ireland, and it's layered and complicated, but it makes sense to me, like very simply. But it's been explained to me. It's very hard to explain it, but I'm going to continue making videos explaining it. But there is a Celtic bloodline, which Madeline McCann was a part of, which I'm a part of, and John F. Kennedy was a part of. But this particular bloodline, and not everyone in it, but there is a subgroup that we have a connection, that we have celiac disease, we are on the spectrum, we have ADHD. Now, so this is what Madeline McCann had, which is why her parents struggled with her a bit. She had celiac disease, so she was colicky. Celiac disease is a disease of the small intestine, and also of your your whole digestive system can be affected. But anyway, many children that are colicky actually have celiac disease. 1 in 100 Irish people have celiac disease. But she was also, like I said, on the spectrum, had ADHD. So when I say the spectrum, I mean the spectrum of autism. So she would be randomly loud. She also, her parents saw her as difficult. She had some trouble communicating. And also in combination, her parents are narcissists, okay? So we'll get into that a little bit later, but narcissists treat their children like little adults. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. Let me have some tea. Just bear with me. Sometimes it's hard, guys, when they come through. The energy is just so strong too. Okay. She wants me to explain a little bit about autism and starseeds. So many starseeds, not all, are somewhere on the spectrum, and she wants me to explain why many starseeds and people on the spectrum don't like to make eye contact. So when we are on the other side, like I showed you a circle and then a semicircle, we like to sit side by side and we feel each other's energy. And we speak sometimes without even looking at the person. And then when we come here to Earth, we follow those patterns. Now, reptilians don't. Reptilians are more. They are of the Earth. They are created for the Earth. Reptilians, as peaceful as they may feel when they pass, they prefer to come back to Earth. It is their home. They were made for Earth, and they rely on facial expressions and looking each other in the eye. But anyway, many starseeds, such as Madeline, such as myself, have been uncomfortable making eye contact. And Madeline was also a medium. So she was highly intuitive. So in combination with everything that I said, sometimes she lost the intuition a little bit, not so much because she was young, but in general, this is a message that people on the spectrum, people with ADHD, oftentimes will start to feel like they're losing their intuition, or at least their ability to read people, and it's due to the eye contact and the overwhelm of what they have felt intuitively. So just looking at my notes here. She said most shut down their intuition, but they're saying most starseeds are psychic in some way. You may not be a medium, but you have strong intuition, and it could be through art, literature, music, poetry, things like that. Okay, let me look at my notes here. Okay, so I'm going with who she was and some of her messages before I get into the story, but I will tell the story. And this is going to be a long one, guys. So, in addition to what I've said, this was Archangel Michael's first time being a woman. So there's a transition period. So if Madeline had lived, which in her contract, she was not meant to grow up, but she would have been, she was definitely a tomboy, and she would have been a lesbian, and she would have been a masculine lesbian. She was a leader, she was creative, and let's see here, some of her messages. I'm going to be going back and forth, and right now she's just kind of nodding and prodding me along. Is that I think that's a British word. I don't use that word a lot, prodding. She's like, yeah. It's just funny she's talking to me, because I've fancied British words before. In fact, as a child, I sometimes would spell things the British way. That's a story for another day. Okay. Now we're just having a conversation. Okay, guys. So one message amongst many that she would like to get across is she really doesn't like this trend of people filming their children. So this would be like TikTok, Instagram, just filming children for, you know, it's like she's showing me like a sliding scale. Like there are some children who are stars, who are comedians. They're few and far between. And in that case, with the right parenting and protection, it's not so bad. But there are many, many parents filming their children crying and filming actual abuse, which it doesn't seem like abuse because it's funny. And she's showing me this particular family that has twins, and this is just an example, it's not picking on anyone, but where the parent will give one of the twins like a lemon and one of the twins a candy bar, and then watch their reaction. So reaction videos, please don't film or watch these videos of children crying. If you're a starseed, please don't participate in this. Don't egg these people on. Don't support this, because it is harmful to the children, and it's a negative trend. And oftentimes the parents are narcissistic. And that's a very narcissistic trait, is treating your children like they're little dolls, getting reactions from your children for entertainment. Yeah, and she's showing me, you know, there was a part in a book where her mom discussed her privates, and although that may seem harmless, that's a very common thing that narcissists do, and a lot they might see it as harmless, but even if it's in a joking way, just the names for private parts and the jokes, and yeah, I'm not going to get into it, but it's not good, guys. So let me look here. There are many questions. That should have been asked of her parents. Just randomly, her parents discussed having a fight the night before, and no one has asked them, what was that fight about? We'll get into that. What happened the night before she went missing? I'll explain actually what did happen. So Madeline's making a little joke, calling her parents my two dads, sort of explaining what it was like, what their relationship was like. And also Madeline was the Myers-Briggs type. She was an ENFJ. So for those of you who are into that, that makes sense. She was the scapegoated child of narcissistic parents, and it started with her being colicky. Narcissists need a scapegoat in general, and that pretty much foot the bill right there. So her parents, now narcissists see their children as little adults. So when they have a child that has a problem like colicky, where they're crying, they see that child as defiant, and they want you to think of it as kind of seeing their child kind of like a little jerk, like, oh, you know, nothing that we do can make this child happy. That's how they felt. They oftentimes bribed her with junk food, which was terrible for her with her conditions, and also especially her having celiac disease. And many of you probably are already aware of this sort of syndrome of children who are on the spectrum, who have ADHD, having an issue with food, lots of food allergies. Well, her, like myself, she couldn't handle sugar, and she couldn't handle gluten. So junk food was not good for her. Writing and looking here, she saved her family tree. The twins were not scapegoated because the twins were very quiet, obedient, and passive. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. It was just different than Madeline. Yeah, I just have random messages from her. She said, don't be too cool to ask questions. You know, you can see she had a very strong personality. Obviously, Archangel Michael does. And, you know, they are protectors. And I'm just reading here. So I briefly mentioned Archangel Jophiel was John Benet Ramsey. So both Archangel Michael and Jophiel volunteered to come here for the same reason, and both of them were successful. The mission was successful. They came as beautiful girls with narcissistic parents, and you know, they both had the same thing happen to them. Shedding light on trafficking. They want to protect the little people who don't have voices, especially. So they came here and knowing that because of who their families were and the way they looked, that their stories would make international news and become sensationalized. But it is really to give a voice to people who don't have it. So what they are saying, they're both here, what they are saying is that you can see now, even in mainstream media commercials, that human trafficking and how to prevent it is actually becoming, it's more acceptable to talk about. And these two, through a whole series of events, have made that happen. and they're giving voices to the people. It will trickle. It will help the people in Asia and Central America where this is big. Obviously, it's a problem worldwide, but those are the people who don't have the voices yet. And oh, yes, okay, so I will do a video on the little boy who, she said there was a younger boy who his story got lost, that he was the same thing happened to him. So I'll investigate that. Yeah, and she said there were fake orphan workers hanging around the apartment complex. But I'm going to get into the whole story. Okay. So, Madeline wants you to know that, to remind you, during traumatic events, there are the 4 ways of reacting: fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. So Madeline wants you to know that after she was taken, that she chose fight, obviously being Archangel Michael, and it all goes together, her being a Taurus, and she also is sending a message out to mediums, if it is, you think it might be your style, to practice channeling. And she is going to become more available if you'd like to channel her. And she'd really like you to really start telling the truth, that people are ready for it. Okay. So let me move on. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about her mom, Kate McCann. So Kate McCann was born reptilian, which is not a bad thing. She had some struggles in her life, causing her to be on the dark side, a little dark reptilian. How it manifested in her is they're telling me that she is what is called a covert, passive, aggressive narcissist. And they wanted, I haven't read this book yet, I want to, but I've listened to this woman, her name is Debbie Mirza, and she wrote a book about it, about being a covert, passive-aggressive narcissist. So she's also somatic, which means she's very into the physical. It causes her to be victim-like. She was an only child, which added to that. She struggled. She had a few events in her life which hardened her. So she didn't connect with Madeline, and her being very physical, very into looks, very into the body. This is not a judgment. Her and Jerry were swingers, and it's complicated. That was it wasn't as I'm not going to get into it. And it's interesting how they explained it to me, how this personality type looks at marriage. Like, you know, they may stay married forever, but it's interesting how the different types of, you know, starseeds or reptilians, how they view marriage. And, you know, we're talking about how they really view it. And these two viewed marriage as in a way, they were both traditional. They viewed it as, you know, until death do we part. They understood all of the religious aspects of it and tried to honor that. But there's a part of them that, and just to let you know, like, people are different, that just thought, you know, we'll just try this. And in a way, you know, I don't know that, I don't know what to say about that. I guess positively, like, they just went for it. So so let's move on to Jerry McCann. They were saying he is an overt narcissist, so more of the grandiose type, and also somatic. So they are a good match, both very into the physical. You know, he had studied like exercise physiology, and then went on to be a cardiologist, and you know, she was a doctor too. So this is very suiting for them, and the lifestyle of swinging. What I want to say is, it wasn't, you know, maybe at the time it was a little more pronounced when they were younger, but it's not all of who they are. But just giving you an idea of the situation, they're very physical people. That's why they talk about physical things a lot. And had this not happened, they would have had a rocky relationship with Madeline, but they would have not taken her out themselves. So this explains why Jerry is so stoic. And a big reason why Jerry has been so stoic, and he coached Kate to be so stoic, is that it's pride, and he doesn't want the kidnappers, the people responsible for this, to see him or his family as weak, feeling that you know, they have done enough harm, and that makes sense too. So let's move on. Their vacation started April 28th and obviously ended on the 3rd. It was their penultimate day, meaning second to last. So they were in Praia de Luz, which is called Little Britain. So that's important in what happened. So moving on, we'll talk a little bit about the Tapas 7. They were swingers too. Maybe not the mom, the grandmother that was there, but the rest of them. And it's more just like an kind of in the background of just this openness to anything that can happen. And to let you all know, the Tapas 7 were also dark reptilian and alcoholics. So, you know, before everybody got into understanding narcissism, people were starting to understand the alcoholic personality and the cycle that goes on with them and the cycle that goes on in alcoholic households. So they had that cycle. The cycle of, I should have written this down, I should have looked this up, but I'll just explain it energetically. It's kind of like a lot of tension, a lot of trying to do everything right, a lot of busyness, a lot of activity, followed by, you know, drinking, and I guess it could be with substance abuse, followed by drama, starting with the whole cycle all over again. But anyway, that was the situation. This is a situation that many people live with, and it goes into the dark reptilian energy, which can be called the dark triad, which is, you know, different spectrums of narcissism, different spectrums of substance abuse, and overall just toxicity. So let's move on here. There are some questions that Madeline says, like, people haven't really talked about. One was the fight the night before. What was that all about? So another thing is the parents went out like this every night. That has been talked about a little bit, but they went out every night. They were not checking on the children. And one thing that kind of slipped by everyone is Kate and Jerry just came out and said before they even went to the restaurant. So Madeline says that they were going to the restaurant. They had standing reservations at 8:30. And before they even would do that, like this particular night and most nights, she's saying, like every night, Kate and Jerry had a bottle of wine before they even went out. So there was that odd thing that people didn't talk about. Another odd thing that people didn't question was, let's see here. I don't want to mix people up. So Jerry talked to his friend. Let me move on here. Figure out which one of these male friends it was. Gosh, guys, I have so many notes. I guess that's a good thing. Part of the Tapas 7. Okay. Yeah, he had sent, I believe it was his friend, Dr. Oldfield. This is something that hasn't really been questioned. He sent Dr. Oldfield to talk to, like, Jerry was playing tennis, and he sent his friend to help they were all like, the boundaries were just very crossed, which is a dark reptilian thing. But he sent his friend to help Kate while she was getting the kids ready. And this is like a common thing. Like another couple said like, oh, I wouldn't let that guy, and this is him, Dr. Oldfield, oh, I wouldn't let him, bathe my children. Well, like, it's so strange. Why would you let anyone bathe your children? But yeah, they're telling me now, like, that was the thing. Oh, I'm gonna go help. But honestly, in this group, guys, there weren't any boundaries. There was a lot of flirting, hanky-panky, touching, innuendos, joking. On the one hand, if you met these people out, they would probably be a blast. They're intelligent, interesting, attractive, but there were like slaps on the butt and jokes about the kids, and some of that was them sort of one-upping each other, but boundaries were blurred, and comments were made. So I want you all to think about what you've known about narcissism and how other people are objectified, and how this was manifested in this group, things that were talked about. This group was also successful and connected, and they all just fed off each other, meaning they co-signed each other's BS. And a big thing with reptilians in general, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it can go into bad, is they want to be seen as normal and cool. And so they made each other think that, like within this group, and you guys know how groups are, that all this behavior was normal. And we'll get into that a little bit more. So the TAPIS 7, let's also just say that they all did give their children antihistamines at different times so that they would sleep. And they did that the night Madeline was taken, because Madeline did wake up the night before. And they want to make note of why. So Kate and Jerry kind of swept that under the rug when they were asked by lots of people, like, they told the story of the night before, where Madeline said to them that morning about the night before that, why didn't you come when Sean and I woke up? And, they said that Madeline said that in passing. So that's strange in itself, guys. it's just a strange thing to say. That's something you would read in a book, like so and so said in passing, and it's usually, you know, something very benign. But this wasn't that. This was a child saying, "Why didn't you come when I was crying?" And you know, Madeline, Archangel Michael is saying, like, why didn't people ask them, like, well, did you ask her why she was crying? Like, that's these questions, like, really, you guys had a bottle of wine before you went out? Or why was Madeline crying? Did you ask her why she was crying? Like, did something happen? So the reason that they're telling me this, guys, is try to pay attention to these details in your life. It will help. And when you're watching stories like this, just to get to the root of it, I'm assuming that you're watching me, that you're interested in this. Maybe you're interested in true crime. So these are some questions you can ask. Another big question was Kate said, just, you know, she's just saying it like almost victim-like, and this is very like covert narcissism. She's just like, oh, and you know, Madeline had like a brown stain on her pajamas. So this was the night before. Well, guys, that brown stain was, I can't really say it on YouTube, but it was from a human, okay? And I don't want to get gross. But why was that not questioned? Like, brown stain, how big was the stain? What did it look like? I mean, I know this is gross, but you see something strange as a parent, I would assume that you would sniff it, see what it is, give it as evidence, but that wasn't done. So, they're saying that was washed, you know, the doll was washed. So anyway, we're gonna get into what actually happened. But so the TAPAS 7, we have Jane Tanner, Russell O'Brien, Dr. Oldfield, his wife, Rachel Oldfield, David Payne, Fiona Payne, and their mother, Diane Payne. Diane Webster. So, okay. This is what Madeline said happened, okay, guys? So, I want you to look at this, I guess, in a macro, big, cosmic, spiritual way, as spiritual warfare, and then we'll also talk about the earthly things that happened. So as spiritual warfare, Archangel Michael knew that this was in his contract to come here and do this, to shed light on this issue. And knowing that the dark reptilian energy, which hangs out in the 4th dimension, is fully aware of this happening too, and did their part as expected. But that being said, this resort was watched. It was watched by small-time criminals up to major criminals, who many have thought George Soros was involved. which he was, and the Podesta brothers, which they were, and Robert Murat, which he was, and then down to the lower level Christian Bruckner, which was the one who physically took her, along with Robert Murat and his Christian's girlfriend. But let's talk about what happened on the vacation. And so this whole group was going out every night, leaving their kids alone. Madeline, who was intuitive, basically knowing that something was up with her soul, and also with her conditions. People on the spectrum with ADHD and stuff, they don't sleep well. Children like this are special needs, and they don't sleep well. They don't like change. They don't like these, although she enjoyed all the activities and her friends, and she was a tomboy and she played football and she had a great time, she really had special needs and needed, well, all kids need their parents there at night. Kids know when their parents aren't there, and it creates anxiety in them, and it's this vicious cycle where they can't sleep. So she wasn't sleeping very well, and then there was this drama of the anxiety it was creating in the parents too. So what happened the night before is she was given medicine the night before, and because her parents told her that they were at the restaurant, she had gone out to the living room and she had gone up onto the couch and had fallen on a toy, and she hurt herself, not severely, but she did have a cut and there was blood. And so her parents felt guilty about that. Not so guilty that they didn't go out again, but they did feel bad. They chalked it up to kids will be kids, and Madeline's just, she's rambunctious and she won't settle in, and they made light of it. So anyway, I'm really sorry that most of this video I have my eyes closed, but it's actually helping me think, because I get so distracted with all these notes and everything, and also like looking at the camera. So all right, let me go back to, because Madeline's talking to me, and they showed, just like the John Bonet story, they showed me this like a movie, and I left out some details in the John Bonet story, so I'm really trying to get this right. So that night before was really upsetting to Madeline. Oh, yes, major thing here, guys. So like I said, they were swingers, and this group, this sort of energy, they talked a lot about physical beauty, and they talked about how the children were beautiful. And one of the reasons why they didn't have babysitters is, first of all, there's an arrogance that nothing would happen to them. They're not like those kinds of people that, people would victimize in that way. Even though being narcissistic, there was a victim-like way in another way. It's sort of in the sense of entitlement, if that makes sense. But they felt they were sort of stars of the show at this resort. You know, big personalities, at least, you know, like Jerry had it, and Kate, you know, they were a good match because Kate rolled her eyes at that and he rolled his eyes at her way of being. And it's kind of like she hid behind him and it actually enjoyed a lot of the spotlight. But within this, they talked about the kids and how beautiful they were, and Madeline was the oldest, and Madeline was of the age that I just want to say P-Files liked, and that's a whole thing, but she was of the age, so she was starting to get attention. And, you know, I guess they like all ages, but it's more guys in the objectification. So it's not a stretch, like, to be married or to just have partners, like to be with people that you're not in a committed relationship with. It's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope. That's what they're saying. It's very easy for one thing to blend into the next. And I know people find that disturbing, but if you look at adult movies, you know, what they've said is some people start watching them, they get younger and younger or crazier and crazier, and before they know it, people are watching some crazy stuff that would be considered really inappropriate. And the same thing with lifestyles. Once you get into like partying as a couple, and then flirtation, and then swinging, it's not that much of a stretch for the tentacles to spread out into the children. That happened with the Ramseys, and that happened with the McCanns. And the way that it manifested with the McCanns is, in particular, Dr. Oldfield, when he had checked, he volunteered to check on Madeline the night before. And I think everyone kind of knew, like, he found her attractive. Nothing physically happened, but he did look at her, and it was inappropriate. It was not, she was not fully in her pajamas, and he, I guess I should say, had his own way with himself, and that's where the stain came from. And, you know, this is what I was told. This is my connection, so I cannot tell you what 100% the truth is. I'm supposed to say this is for entertainment purposes, but anyway, that's what I was told. And so I think that they knew something like that happened, and they trusted. It's very, very strange to have a group of people who are swinging and flirting and carrying on and drinking, but they really like trust each other as, you know, family. But, you know, we know these things happen in families too. So, you know, that this is actually Spirit saying this is very common in this strange way. They all respected each other, their status. And just know, guys, that 98% of the time that these things happen, there are substances involved. So there were and there are. And so we all know the big cover-up that happened amongst the group, and the odd timelines and the guilty behavior. So all of that guilt stems from that, and from that whole thing. But let's go to the night that she was taken. So now they're concerned because Madeline did wake up. One of the children was sick, so now they are on high alert, and they are actually going to check their children. And they are not 100% sure of what happened to Madeline, so they are all sort of covering their tracks. And especially Dr. Matthew Oldfield, he said that when he had done his check on Madeline, their timelines don't add up, but he had said that he didn't really look at her, and he's sort of correct. He kind of looked at her, but he didn't want to be the last person to see her. So anyway, they're covering their tracks, but let's go to what actually happened. So try to think of this as energy, guys. The people that I had mentioned before, George Soros, Robert Murat, Christian Bruckner, his girlfriend, the Podesta brothers. So they were all working together, and for different reasons. We all know George Soros has a thing against the monarchy, against Britain, against what he considers the elitist of America. And he works with others. There are people that I can't name on YouTube, but he is not someone who goes after, he doesn't mind being gossiped about. He gets a little bit of duper's delight from it. So he was actually looking to take from this resort. He didn't know the McCanns. He didn't know, it was just kind of like a bonus that it was them, and he got away with it. And it's what he considers like poetic justice. And the McCanns were very well connected, and so for him it was like a bonus. But he was planning on this, and it wasn't for the money, it's for his own, and you can watch my George Soros videos. This is for his own personal vendettas. He has his own sense of good and bad, and justice, and power trips, and that was his deal. And then Robert Murat is just a creep and was working with him. And the same with the Podestas, similar. So they are all dark reptilian, and it's interesting. Kate and McCann are. So where does the spiritual warfare come in? Well, it's with Madeline, and it's with the the cause and effort that Archangel Michael and Madeline and the Galactic Federation, the starseeds, what their mission is. The reptilians in the fourth dimension are fully aware of the mission, and it was basically spiritual warfare. And what came out of it was there were wins for the dark reptilians and there were wins for the starseeds. So the win for the reptilians is they did have a sense of satisfaction of taking Madeline. And so let's go back to that night, to the details. So they did do their checks, not thoroughly, and Madeline was taken. I don't know why I'm saying Mr. I sound so formal. I think it's because I'm sound like a reporter. But Christian Bruckner was paid to take her, and it's right up his alley. He's a known pedophile and abuser. So, and this is another thing, guys, they left the door open. They didn't all have a key. It's incredibly lazy. But think about alcoholics too, tend to be antsy, anxious, annoyed, anything that could make their lives a little bit easier, they're going to do. So they left the door open. He went right through the door, and went right into the bedroom and took her. He did leave out the window, and he was wearing gloves and everything, so there were no fingerprints, but he did leave the window open, which did create that breeze. So there's a lot of truth, guys, in everyone's testimony, and there are lies, and that's why things seem suspicious. And then some things, it's if you watch certain tarot readers and mediums and armchair detectives and body language experts, it's everyone is right and wrong. But there are a lot of things that are right, and there's a lot of reasons why they look suspicious, because they are. So Madeline was taken, and what they've said is Christian's girlfriend was on the other side with Robert Murat, and they took her. Robert carried her, and they took her in a van, and they took her to Germany. So they took her. She was not compliant. She was very rambunctious. She was sullen. She cried. She never went into fawning, which is like I said, fight, freeze, or fawn. She never went into fawning or any of those. She always fought. So it was not good for them. She only had 2 clients. She lived in Germany for 2 years. She was taken out right before her 6th birthday. This is hard, guys. Oh, getting major heart palpitations here. It's very just, it's a lot. Okay, guys, I got to get out of this energy. It's really hard on me. She was taken out. It was really rough. She was not a good candidate for this. She really fought them, and they're saying that oftentimes the victims go into fawning just to survive and end up making good candidates. She wasn't. She's a born fighter. And so before her 6th birthday, they took her out and used some of her organs, and she was cremated. So please watch other mediums, everyone, and see what conclusions you draw. That's what they're telling me. Let me go through my notes to see if I missed any details. A strange detail they wanted me to make note of was that, you know, Christian had made a strange confession in a bar, or so it was said. He was definitely set up. I mean, he's a creep anyway, so but when he was asked where he was that night, like you know, guys, he could have just said that he was with his girlfriend, but he specifically said he was having sex with his girlfriend, which is just, why? Why has anyone asked, like, why did you have to say that? Like, you know, just another added creepy McCreeperson statement. So let me see if I missed anything here. So yes, so not only is Madeline Archangel Michael, but she is also, and Archangel Michael is a tall white, a Pleiadian and Arcturian, as am I. I do have a connection to Madeline, and I have a connection up to this point to most people that all of the souls that I've read for. And I will get more into that in future videos. I feel like, let's all say happy birthday to Madeline, because strangely they were going to leave this vacation before her birthday, but you know, something that, you know, narcissists would do. Wouldn't it be so perfect for her to have had her birthday on vacation? But anyway, yes, and those fake orphan workers, who, there was no orphanage, that was that ring, checking on who to take, and blonde girls with blue eyes are very, very high up with certain groups as far as price. let's go back to my two dads. So that's like a joke of Madeline. First of all, she sends a lot of love to her parents. She wanted to change this, to break this generational curse of narcissism, and Kate and Jerry have been through the ringer. They have suffered because of this. Their souls have matured, and the twins have gone through a lot with this happening, and they are becoming earth angels as we speak. So what is that? An earth angel is a reptilian who, on the other side, in the spiritual realm, they many reptilians, when they are over there, not many advanced evolved reptilians, they decide that they want to work for the starseeds, the Galactic Federation, the Archangels, while they're over there. And they say, you know, sort of like, set me up with a decent life on the other side, and I will, you know, do good. And oftentimes Earth is so dense, and we are all tempted, and all of us could go dark. It's different. I'll get more into the degrees and what type of spiritual warfare goes on. But anyway, they make a deal to come, and this is what happened with Queen Elizabeth. And anyway, the twins decided they wanted to try to be earth angels. People don't always succeed in their mission. George Soros came with that mission too, but he used the advances in power he was given not for good. So anyway, as of this point, the twins are going to complete that mission, therefore changing the bloodline and eradicating the darkness, the narcissism, not fully, but changing the bloodline. So let me move on here and see if I missed anything else. Oh, yes, I missed a big thing that explains a lot of the weirdness and guilt. Jerry, I say it like Seinfeld. Jerry. Okay, this is gonna make sense to you guys. Jerry left the tapas bar to meet Jane Tanner. Now, they didn't have full hanky-panky, but it was the start of something. They were like fooling around, and Kate knew it. Now, Kate was very popular. She had her own flirtations and things going. So it actually excited them all. Like, strangely, Kate got more excited by Jerry, knowing that Jane was excited by Jerry. So Jerry went to meet Jane, which is why they had that weird, like, pretend, oh, I saw you on the street. So if you guys want to watch other videos on, oh, I have a cramp in my leg. If you guys want to watch other videos on this, it gets really muddy that night with the timeline, especially the timeline from 9 to 10. That's when a lot of weirdness happened. That's when Madeline was taken. But they didn't check on Madeline. Jerry went to meet Jane. Jane pretended she saw Jerry in the street. They had talked. That was the cover-up. No one took Madeline out in that group. No one hurt Madeline. Just that creepy thing happened the night before, but and that actually made her wake up and fall and stuff like that. But they all felt guilty about that. They felt guilty about not watching their kids. Jerry went to meet Jane. That's where all of that weirdness comes in, and that's where Jane said, oh, remember Kate said you had been going to watch football? That was a lie. Where was Jerry? And these are questions that like weren't asked. Like, where was Jerry watching football? Did he go to his own apartment to watch football? No, like that was not happening. So that I think was a euphemism for like going to meet Jane, and maybe like, yeah, they're saying like a joke between like all of them, like, oh, are you going to watch football? It's like there were all of these innuendos and wink winks, and it's not like they all appreciated the other person. It's very convoluted and complicated, but it gave their life excitement, and it's very common. You know, and it's nothing I would like, and you know, I'm not a perfect person. I don't know. I don't want to get into judgment. But anyway, so creepy, yes. Did they take her out? No. But were they responsible? Yes. She was pretty much handed over on a plate, but did they have any idea that this was going to happen? No. But I want to add in something like, I traveled for a living, and I was in one world when I would go out with my coworkers, and we were in a group, and we'd have drinks and we'd have fun. And then I was in a completely different world when I went to these same cities, which are like resort cities, you know, major cities. So I would go all over Europe in the summer. So I had to start going out by myself because I found out I had all these food allergies. I went through like a major ordeal with like being sick and having surgery and stuff like that. So, you know, I found out myself that I had celiac disease. So I started going out in these cities alone, and going to the grocery store and going running and things like that. So guys, I have stories. I was followed all over Europe. I have crazy stories. I have a story. I was in London and I went out jogging at dusk, and I had this taxi driver pull up. I think he was Pakistani. He pulled up next to me, screeched the brakes. I looked over, he rolled his window down. Oh, he had his window down. And he screamed at me. He said, "Get in. Your friends are looking for you." And I was hanging out by myself over there, like trying to be healthy. I didn't know anyone. I wasn't going out with my crew. So I was so angry, you guys. I turned around, and this is before I really understood what was happening. I just thought he was harassing me. And I just turned and I gave him the finger and I said, "F you, I'm American. I don't have any friends here." And let me tell you guys, he just peeled out. But all over the world, guys, in resort towns, people are being followed. Just the world is getting creepy. The world has been creepy. Things are coming out. this trafficking is happening. God knows what would have happened to me. It's craziness. Let me look through my notes, guys, and just see if I missed anything. Crazy. Even the grandmother was like, I'm looking at the Tapis 7. The grandmother made a comment saying, oh, I think the abductor drugged the children. Okay, grandma. No, they had been given like this antihistamine type thing. I think it's called, in England, called Calpol. But here it's like Benadryl. Anyway, it was something like that. Yeah, they're saying Calpol. So this is so interesting. I want to bring up someone who's part of my spiritual team. His name is Ludwig Bemelmans, okay? And he's from Austria. Some of you might know who that is. He had a kind of a rough upbringing. His parents split, and he had to, you know, it's like a very common story where his family was doing well. His father owned a hotel, then his parents divorced, and then he struggled. But he struggled, and like myself, like Madeline, was on the spectrum, had ADHD, struggled in school, so became a target of a headmaster. And he, being defiant, said to the headmaster, you know, if you attack me one more time, I'm going to shoot you. And he did. And then he got sent to America, moved to New York, worked in restaurants, and actually started writing the Madeline books. So he's been with me, talking to me for a couple years now. He's asked me to go to his bar in Manhattan, and he's actually complained that this really nice bar called Bemelmans has his murals still. Somehow they've kept his murals. They're beautiful, but he's complained it still is, but it's been known to be a very classy bar at the Carlisle Hotel in New York. And, you know, I didn't know, I'm learning about this, but I didn't know it was him. But I'm learning now, because I can communicate better, that Mr. Ludwig Bemelmans, he was asking me to go there, and I did. And it's like, you know, we're talking and stuff, and, you know, it's like a connection. We're connecting over this, and he's a little disappointed at what he sees at the bar. You know, this was like a meeting place, and it's turned, not fully, but there are, like, you know, working girls there. And, you know, he's just stated it's a disappointment, and he feels, and obviously he's went through a hard time, so he's not judging. It's just, you know, it's a society's downgrading, although that is the oldest profession. But you get it. It's a connection. Like, starseeds don't want to see this. And it's not a judgment. It's just there is a better way of life, and you know, maybe that is, you know, it's very complicated, but it's definitely not. Yeah, it's like, although it's not a judgment, it's not ideal. and it's not good. The trafficking part, the forced part, the substance abuse part, all of that, you know, it's an added element. It's not healthy. It's not good. The Galactic Federation is not going to ever back it up. Especially, you know, they're into love and commitment and honor, and I'm probably sounding terribly judgmental, but anyway, let me just make sure that I didn't miss anything. You guys can also look up details on other people's, you know, with the timeline, and, you know, if you're very detail oriented and you want to learn more about this case, there's plenty out there, especially of the facts. Hold on. Okay. So if you're watching this and you'd like to help, if you'd like to connect, please pray to Archangel Michael. Always pray to Archangel Michael for protection. Also pray to Archangel Michael if you would like to cut cords with any negative person, any toxic person, any narcissist, any negative experiences. Pray to Archangel Michael. I'm going to pray right now. I've already done this, but Archangel Michael, please, if you haven't done so already, please cut cords with any toxic people and cut cords with toxic behavior for me, please. Please help me with that. I give you permission. Also, they're asking you to help, guys. Help in this cause. Whether you feel like you're a starseed or a reptilian, you can help. And how you can help is through helping with organizations that fight this, staying aware. Even like they're saying, look on milk cartons, look at people, look for signs. And I know it's hard, especially if you're a certain age. People are called Karens now. People want to mind their business. People don't want to start trouble, don't want to get in trouble. But do what you can there. Adopt if you feel like you would be a good parent, or even an average parent, so that children don't go to a bad parent. There's adoption. There's also fostering. There's mentoring, teaching. Wherever, if you feel like you're not a creep, and maybe you feel like, you know, Spirit has told me that even with how expensive professions are, that almost all professions, and they're saying even doctors, like, I know this sounds crazy, and this isn't for everyone, but maybe not to stay in a profession longer than 10 years. And I'll make a video on that. But anyway, if you feel like, you know, if you're just calm and not a creep, maybe working with children is something that you might want to do in some capacity, working with special needs. And especially if you've had a crazy, stressful job, maybe just, even if it's like speech therapy, something like that might be a nice switch. Not that that's not stressful, I'm not saying that. So try to discuss these things with other people. If you're in advertising, wherever you can, to help with this. not watching those videos where the kids cry for views, and anything that you can do for your health or others, not smoking around people, young people. Oh, here's another thing that no one asked about. Well, maybe not no one, but just this weird thing where they were told that the children shared a toothbrush. Madeline wanted to talk about that a little bit, how, Kate and Jerry didn't grow up very wealthy, and sometimes it's like they didn't really how do I put this? They were cheap sometimes, like with the clothing. Madeline said she would have liked nicer clothes, and they should have had a babysitter, but that's a whole rabbit hole as to why I got into that before. They were in the Algarve region of Portugal, but it was cold then. It's just like there was just certain things, this sharing of the toothbrush. But let me go through more of my notes. I really don't want to miss anything. This was a lot of work. Hold on, guys. Sorry. I'm all like thirsty and dried out. They made sure though, I had lots of snacks and food before I started this. I kind of missed I missed some things with the John Benet reading. I don't want to miss anything. I wish I'd gotten more into detail with what happened, but Spirit said I did okay. The details were creepy, so can you guys believe that Christian Bruckner had a girlfriend? There's like someone for everyone. There's all these women that write to people in prison. That's just stories for another day, right? I think I got everything. Yeah, Jerry, overt, narcissistic, physical, very intelligent, okay. I've gone over all of this. Oh goodness. Oh wait. Here's a page. Let me look at this, okay? Yeah, Madeline said that she enjoyed the excitement around like getting treats and snacks and stuff, but she actually she preferred like home cooked meals, especially for her dietary needs. She kind of liked the fun packaging and stuff of treats. So there is a picture, I don't want to upload it as the thumbnail for this, but there's a picture. Try to look for a picture. They actually didn't have a lot of pictures, but I do understand that it was at that time, 2007 was when people had they weren't using regular cameras and they weren't using their phones yet. So a lot of kids' pictures from that time just got stuck in those cameras. But so there's a picture of Madeline where she just looks tired and her eyes are puffy. So guys, that's the celiac look. It's like her face was puffy. I don't want to upload that as her thumbnail though. I want a, you know, a cute picture of her. But I want you guys to look at that, because even when kids are tired, they don't look like that. So that's the celiac look. And she was having, you know, a reaction, of course, because, you know, celiac is an allergy to gluten. So it's in everything. So that makes sense. Yeah, they brought Madeline. I told you guys that story. So also some things that were misconstrued. So although I've said the McCanns were narcissistic, they did not want this to happen to Madeline. They were very upset. In their own way, they loved her. And they deeply regretted what happened. So that is all true. And Kate was panicked when she didn't see Madeline. The door did shut from the wind, from the window being left open. What else? So Kate McCann did have the mother's instinct. She did know Madeline was taken. It was her instinct. And that is just a human instinct. Everyone did participate all night in the search. So when they say that she did not, or they didn't participate in the search, that's not true. But then just, you know, things were covered up and swept under the rug and just overlooked. And everyone needs to learn from this. This has been a huge, you know, not to be a dork, but like a huge teaching moment for society. And so many lessons in here, a lot of things that I've talked about, asking more questions, making eye contact, and a lot of this spiritual warfare for the people who aren't like really dark. It's, you know, reptilians are working on being more sensitive, and starseeds are working on how to relate to everybody. So, but guys, we are involved and always will be involved as long as there are humans on Earth in spiritual warfare. So please do your part. And I will, I really asked them, like, please give me all the information, because I don't want to make 2 videos. They didn't want to make 2 videos. Let's thank Madeline McCann. Thank you. And she's nodding. She put herself in the background so that I could make other videos. The reason that she has slowly been talking to people is that it's so complicated, especially there's so many lies mixed in with truth, that like she has told people certain things, like about the accident and about being taken, and so there's a lot of truth and not truth in things. So that's why it's just like the John Bonet case where there was truth and there was lies and there was culpability and there was creepiness and there was yeah. So okay. Madeline saying, buy your kids the Madeline books, and it's all connected, and you can figure that out. She said, if you make any connections yourself or have anything to add, leave a comment. Talk amongst yourselves. She's funny. Archangel Michael is funny, and he's not always, Metatron is always known as the funny archangel, but Michael's funny. They're sorry that, it's just so serious, and they know us humans, we like to be entertained, we like a little bit of joking and stuff, but this was very, very grave, and that's their role. Although on the other side, they're funny and they like music and they yuck it up. Oh, yes. It is disturbing how they don't talk about Madeline's personality. So I did do that. She was funny. She was creative. She liked to make up stories. She would have wrote, her soul was not meant to live long, but her soul is a sporty, masculine soul, creative, leader, protective, funny, strong. And Archangel Michael will come back. Madeline will come back. She will not come back into that family, but she will come back into a very prominent family. She says, I will be involved, with her in a prominent family. That's all the information that she can give on that, but she will come back with those characteristics. We come back with our characteristics and we just keep working on them, doing our thing, but we also come back with the same sensitivity. So she will also have she'll be on the spectrum. She'll have ADHD. She'll have celiac, as I will too. And do your investigations, guys. So a lot of people who have these things are from the same bloodline, or at least the same spiritual bloodline. So there's that. We're all connected in that way, interconnected, but when they say we're all connected, they don't mean we're all from the same DNA, same bloodline, same spiritual line. There are lines. And I'm not trying to say that to separate. It's more so that it's the truth, and also it's helpful. It's helpful. And they're saying, also really look in people's eyes. That's sometimes it's been so overstated. Eyes are the window of the soul, but that's where you can really see what's happening. All right, they're saying that's about it. Please pray to them. If you are a medium, intuitive tarot reader, Madeline would like to talk to you. Please try to talk to her. Please pray to them to watch over your children. It's a crazy time. Please pray to them to stay safe, cut cords, and they're very thorough, and they're doing their swirl as to when they leave. They're saying thank you, and I want to thank my whole spiritual team, the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, the tall whites, and thanks to you guys. All right, I will see you in the next video. Love you guys. Bye.